I will never ever get bored of listening to that. But fantasy managers, hello and welcome to the preview show for Matchday 2 of the UEFA Champions League. Today I'm joined by the FPL Addicts Guru, Matchday. But before we introduce him, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and turn the notification bell on as well so you never miss an upload or a live stream. But Guru, how are you doing, mate? Are you excited for Matchday 2?
Yeah, can't wait for it. It's going to be another big match day. These are always the best times, I think, when teams need the points. They want to qualify. So, you get the best matches, and can't wait. A little bit of a worry with this Haaland injury scare and the cloud over him at the moment. But other than that, yeah, really pumped for another match day of Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am repping the Borussia Dortmund today, so fingers crossed that doesn't curse him or anything like that. But I wore AC Milan on the last Champions League one. It's Dortmund today, so fingers crossed Dortmund can keep up their good form and Haaland is past fit. But match day 1 was good, Guru, wasn't it? It was a nice sort of refresh from FPL. It's nice to just sort of have a side hustle, if you will, besides FPL, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it was great fun. Some of the points were just outrageous. The likes of Haller with the 4 goals. That was phenomenal. And all these ball recovery points is just something that you don't see in FPL. And I think it's brilliant. And just seeing the number of ball recoveries, the number of extra points players got. It was great stuff.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And, obviously the Champions League, such a big name around the world. So it was absolutely brilliant. We'll get into it, Guru. We'll start with a couple of fixture reviews. I want to talk to you about Bayern Barcelona first. And I know Daniel, who's watching along in the chat, won't be too pleased about that one. But, Robert Lewandowski doing what he does best, wasn't he, Guru?
Phenomenal stuff. Loves the Champions League, loves goals in general. And, yeah, Bayern Munich tore Barca apart in the end. I think, other than Lewandowski grabbing a couple of goals, I think Gnabry had a really good game, Muller as well. But ter Stegen was probably the man of the match for Barca in the end. Just the amount of saves he had to make. He really kept them in the game. If you can even say that, really. Should have been about 6 or 7.
Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. And Thomas Muller as well, possible one to look out for as sort of, a midfielder that doesn't really break the bank too much, but he's certainly not cheap either. But that was a very, one-sided game, as the Gurus just said, and Barca didn't look too brilliant. So I think it's safe to say there won't be too many Barcelona players sitting on my radar. But I think probably the game of the matchday, Guru, was Man City 6, RB Leipzig 3. This game had everything. 6 goals from City, a hat-trick on Leipzig side, and a red card as well for Agnolino on his return to the Etihad. Just what a thriller this was.
Unbelievable. And, what really stands out for me there is you've got 6 different scorers for Man City. And then for Leipzig, you've got the one, and he was a midfielder as well who's got the hat-trick. So massive points for Champions League fantasy. And then, looking at those City assets, just 6 different ones. It's just phenomenal, really. And, a few FPL names there sort of jump out. You've got the likes of João Cancelo doing it in the Champions League as well. Mahrez, who's been big in FPL the last couple of seasons, got himself a penalty there. So, huge game. And, mad. 9 goals. Wow.
I think that's the only way that you really can describe it, is just mad, absolutely crazy game here between the two sides. And, Man City looking ruthless on the big stage. But as you said, Guru, a lot of FPL names in there. So, again, it's going to be interesting to see what Pep does end up doing with his team. We know the likes of Mahrez didn't really get too much of a run out on the weekend. So you can probably expect him to be starting in the Champions League this week. But it's going to be an interesting one, and no one really knows how it was going to go. But that was definitely the game of the week for me. But in terms of the third and final game that I think, Guru, I want to go to Ajax 5, Sporting 1, and it was the Sebastian Haller show, wasn't it?
Again, unbelievable. 4 goals for Haller. He's ended up with a massive score. He was someone that people spoke about as that enabler striker, that third striker option, but everyone was big on the premiums, Ronaldo, Haaland, Messi, Lewandowski, Neymar, and the like. And Haller's come out and just absolutely dominated there. And I don't think anyone could have predicted 5 goals for Ajax in that one. Just phenomenal.
No, absolutely. And as Daniel said in the chat there, Anthony Rasler, he was brilliant as well. He was getting a bunch of assists for Haller. It was like feeding time at the zoo for those two. They were absolutely brilliant together for Ajax. As I said, no one expected Sebastian Haller to come out with that. You know, we saw him at West Ham in the Premier League and he really wasn't all that great for them. So for him to do that on the big stage against Sporting away was absolutely brilliant to see. And we've seen his ownership definitely skyrocket. I was checking before, he's around 7 or 8% owned now. I think people are sort of going to be putting a little bit more faith in him, which is interesting. But they're sort of the results that I wanted to discuss, Guru. We'll get into the paid mini league now and a little review of that. And it's a very, very familiar face at the top of the leaderboard, sitting on 73 points. It's our very own Statman Dave, Guru.
Unbelievable stuff. You know, see Statman there. Obviously not had the best time in FPL. He had sort of mixed time in the Euro fantasy version of the game. So, yeah, it's great to see him flying high at the top. And, you know, hopefully he keeps it up and keeps up the big scores because, you know, he's due some luck, I think, in fantasy football. So, yeah, well done, Statman Dave.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant from you, Statman. And then we got Potts in second and Budgie in third. Myself and you are sitting in 6th and 7th, Guru. 60 points from you and 61 from me. You know, first game week, you definitely take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely take it. You know, I think a bit of a side hustle, this UEFA Champions League fantasy, and, you know, like the Euro one, if you can get good scores and get yourself up there early on, then, you know, you can really start fighting for, you know, these paid places. So, yeah, 60 points, happy to take that.
Yeah, and, you know, really just does amount now. We've got 5 more games left in this group stage phase of things, so it's going to be interesting. Then it gets into the knockouts, but 60 points and 61 is definitely smart. You know, a really smart and nice score to get in the first week. Chu, it's good to see you around here, mate. Good to see you again. Nice to see your face, and thank you very much for the comments. And Daniel says, can someone let Reedy know that Dave got over 40 to 50 points in UCL? And that's Reedy's phrase, isn't it? You know, anything above 40 to 50. Reedy managed to get 55, so he definitely surpasses you know, what he would have wanted to get. But, you know, the free mini league, much like the one in FPL Guru, at the top, I think it's something like 90 odd points for first place, which is absolutely ridiculous. 90 points for Dom, and, you know, for match day 1, you've got to have hit some sort of gold mine to get 90.
Phenomenal stuff, yeah. But he's got Lewandowski in there, or Haller. He's got to, hasn't he? Maybe Anthony as well, who obviously got all the assists. So, yeah, that's a massive score. Must be pretty high in the world as well, you'd expect, with his overall ranking. I think, there we go, 727 in the world. So Bellingham, yeah, he was one that, you know, me personally, I was gutted to miss out on him in the first game because he was in a few of my drafts. But if you look over there, he's done well. He's got the double Chelsea defence. You know, Alphonso Davies, Bellingham, Lewandowski, Haaland, Lukaku. He's hit everywhere on the pitch. I don't think he's only Pedri and Fabinho are probably the only players that haven't scored or assisted, but of some sort. But, you know, they've still got a recovery point by the looks of it. So, yeah, phenomenal score.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. As I said, 90 points is absolutely ridiculous for the first match day of fantasy football and Champions League, especially with no sort of like bonus points or anything. But what I do find interesting, Gurus, and I didn't realise this until you know, the game week or the match day, as we call it, was over. But you get points for getting man of the match in UCL fantasy as opposed to bonus points. So what do you sort of make of that?
Yeah, I think it's quite good. You know, it's the 3 standard points for, you know, best player on the pitch. So crosses over similar to fantasy, where, you know, the highest person will get 3 points. But yeah, I kind of like it. You know, the man of the match term as opposed to a BPS system. I think it's quite cool. Yeah, I think it's good. So far, it looks like it's been quite fair as well. So yeah, pretty impressed.
Yeah, we weren't best impressed with the bonus point system on the weekend for a lot of fantasy teams. So maybe UEFA have got it going right. We've got a question from Chu Guru, and he says, Haaland and Trent Alexander-Arnold doubtful. I'd heard about Haaland, but surely Trent's not going to be dropped out of the team again, is he?
You know what? I've heard the same about Trent. You know, that he didn't travel or didn't train. It was one of the two. So, yeah, there you go. Chu said it there. So, yeah, I've heard similar. You know, might be slight niggle, maybe illness, or maybe just rotation. So, yeah, if you've got Trent, you might want to look to start him and then hopefully have someone for day 2 that you can bring off your bench at least. So, definitely going to want some cover there. And as for Haaland, yeah, look, he's in my team as well. So, hoping he plays, but it's not looking good.
We'll have to keep an eye out on Trent's socials, Guru, to see if he's out and about for dinner or whatever in Liverpool or something like that, to see if he is fit or if he has travelled in the end. But as I said, Dom sits in first on 90, Caroline on still the monumental score of 88 sits in second, and Enes Turkey sits there in third. So as I said, both leagues looking really, really competitive so far between the two. But we'll get into the sort of preview of the show today, Guru, and we'll sort of have a mini Guru section, if we will. We'll start with your biggest games for assets this week, Guru. So what's your first pick?
Well, obviously, with the Champions League, there's just so many fixtures to pick from and so many big ones. So, yeah, to narrow it down, it can be difficult. But the three I've gone with, the first one, it's got to be Ajax versus Besiktas. I think we're going to see a lot of people bring in Ajax assets for this. Besiktas have got injuries, they're injury hit. So, Ajax versus Besiktas is my first one. Real Madrid versus Sheriff is my second one. I think it's a good fixture for Real Madrid. I know Sheriff surprised a few of us in the last round, beating Shakhtar on the previous match day. But I think, home game at the Bernabeu, big chance for Real Madrid to get 3 points and return some points as well with their fantasy assets. And the last one has got to be Bayern Munich. Coming off the back of a 3-0 win at the Nou Camp, Dynamo Kiev at home. I think it's a great fixture for them. And a lot of people have put faith into Bayern Munich defenders, Lewandowski as well. So, yeah, I think they're the three big games for me for fantasy prospects.
Yeah, and as Daniel's just said in the chat there, Guru, Benzema is definitely going to be one to keep your eye on this week. Do you think, that game against Sheriff, Benzema's been brilliant so far at the start of the season. So do you think he's an asset that people should keep their eyes on?
100%. And, I think if Haaland was definitely ruled out, then Benzema's not a bad swap. So, definitely keep an eye on him. He's, again, Benzema loves goals and loves goals in the Champions League. So, yeah, really good option this week.
Yeah, and do you think, Sebastian Haller, I know we spoke about him before, getting the 4 goals last week, but would he probably be your pick from an Ajax point of view as a player to get in this week? Or do you think, it's quite reactive and jumping on the bandwagon almost, or do you sort of back him to do the same again in Matchday 2?
I think he's worth a go. Besiktas are injury hit. Haller's scored 4 goals in the first match day. You've got to keep some faith in him. I think, it's a great choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we move on to your watch list of players, of your differential type players, Chu asks another question, Guru. He says, what's your thoughts on activating the Limitless chip for Matchday 2?
Yeah, look, I'm not a fan personally, basing this on, previous, Euro, UEFA format games. It's the sort of chip I prefer to use a little bit later on, probably around 4 or 5 when teams have qualified, or even, the last round where, you're going to need it because a lot of your starters, you've got teams that have qualified already, like Bayern Munich, probably would have qualified by then. Maybe your Chelseas of this world, those types of teams. And I'd rather use it a bit later on as opposed to now. But again, it's different for everyone's team. You might have an injury hit side and need to use it. But if you don't need to use it, I'd be saving that for 5 or 6, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one for me personally. I did consider playing it this week. I've opted to not, and we will touch on our transfers later, purely just because I didn't feel the need to at the minute. It sort of felt like a waste, and if I was being greedy, because you definitely would build your team, based on those first 3 fixtures for sure. And obviously they're only going to play the same 3 teams, but you pick your team for that. But then again, by game week, Matchday 6 and Matchday 5, if these teams have already qualified, you might see the likes of Bayern Munich rotating and that sort of stuff. So you always run the risk with that. So it's going to be an interesting one. And as you said, Guru, it was definitely the way that a lot of people went in Matchday 2 of the Euro fantasies. They played their Limitless chip and it paid off for a lot of people. So I think it's an interesting one. But, with the likes of PSG having Man City as their fixture this week and that sort of stuff, I think you're probably best to wait for when they come around and they play Bruges again, if I'm honest. But, that's probably the kiss of death now. But you probably want to wait for when those big teams have got a really, really easy fixture and you can just get as many of those assets into your team as possible. But while we're on the topic of the Limitless chip, Daniel also asks, what does the Limitless chip do?
So Limitless chip is effectively a wild card, so you can change your whole team. But the difference is you're only changing it for 1 match week, and you get unlimited budget as well. So it's pretty good. So, obviously standard, you get a 100 million budget, but this is limitless. I think I'm pretty sure, Elliot, it's still the 3 players per team rule, but yeah, unlimited budget just for a one-off, kind of like a free hit in FPL. But again, there's no 100 million budget. It's great. And it's a really valuable chip. So you definitely don't want to waste it.
Yeah, it's probably the most valuable in this game, if I'm honest, because you do get that sort of free wild card, if you will, at some stage in the season. So I definitely think that, the limitless chip is definitely the one to have. So as the guru said there, it's a free hit pretty much, but you get unlimited budget for that week. So you've got to spend your money wisely, usually. But for this one, you can go all out and go for all the premium assets that you want. So it's definitely a really, really nice chip to use. But Guru, we'll move on to your watch list of players, and it's your players that have got less than 10% ownership at the minute. So who have you gone with?
So first on the list is a Euro fantasy points machine. It's Denzel Dumfries from Inter Milan. He's got Shakhtar, 1% owned. He's a flying fullback. We know how good he is. Doesn't need much of an introduction to fantasy football. So Denzel Dumfries. Next one, I'm going to put Goretzka from Bayern Munich in there, the German. He's 4% owned. He got 11 ball recoveries against Barcelona, which is just, unbelievable. So that'll be an extra 3 points, a clean sheet point on there as well. Low ownership. He does like the odd screamer. So I think he's a really good option this week against Kiev. Next one is going to be a Real Madrid player, 6% owned against Sheriff, Vinicius Jr. Not seen him in many teams. Only got the 2 points last time around, but it's a good fixture for Madrid, and I think he's a good option. And then my last one, I know he did well last match day. He got 4 goals for Ajax, but he's still only 8% owned. He's below 10%. Sebastian Haller against Besiktas.
Yeah, I just can't believe that Dumfries is only 1% owned. Guru, as you said, the Euro fantasy hero he was for the Netherlands. 1% ownership, playing as a preferred wing back on the right-hand side, ball recoveries, assists, goals. You're going to get all sorts from those types of players. He's almost like a B-Tech Hakimi, if you will, at the minute. So, are you surprised to see that he's only 1% owned?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's crazy, really, when you think about how good he was in the Euros. I guess there's a lot of good fullbacks up for grabs in this game. You've got Trent, Hakimi, who you mentioned. There's Carvajal. Lots of good players everywhere. But yeah, 1% just seems very, very low. But we'll see how he goes this match day.
Yeah, and Vinicius Jr. as well, only 6% ownership, playing as a favoured left winger for Real Madrid. The fixture they've got this week, him and Benzema, there might be a nice sort of duo that you can fit into your team, do you think?
I think so. I know Sheriff did well in the last match day, and they got a good win against Shakhtar. But you expect Madrid to win this. They're the Champions League kings at the end of the day. And I think the Junior Benzema double up could be a good one.
Yeah, and obviously Sheriff, maybe their good luck of form or good run of form is going to run out, and Real Madrid dominating La Liga at the minute, doing really well. So you would definitely expect for them to come out in full force and definitely show Sheriff what they are made of. But thank you, Guru, for your little section there. We'll move on to our transfers and our captain choices for match day 2 now. So I'll bring up my share screen with my team and we'll go through mine first, Guru. Locked in for match day 2. This is what it's looking like at the minute. So in terms of my transfers, I went from Messi to Lewandowski. I pulled the plug on Messi already. Not happy with him. PSG have got too many good players at the minute, and he was, a little injury cloud. Seen a couple of things saying that maybe he's not going to play, but even if he does, they've got Man City this week, and I know he's Messi, but I really just wanted to get Lewandowski in with this fixture this week. Dynamo Kiev at home is a massive fixture for Bayern Munich, and they're probably going to come out and dominate that one. So I really wanted to get him in for this week, and then I have also gone with Luca Hernandez. To Acuna. I had to make the funds to get Lewandowski into my team. So that's sort of what I've gone with there, Guru. It's a little bit of a double jeopardy there because I've got the Bayern player out to bring in another Bayern player. But Lewandowski this week, Guru, you've spoke about him already. You'd expect for him to be firing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a no-brainer bringing him in for this. He's got 2 goals at the new camp. He's got a good fixture. Didn't score on the weekend in the Bundesliga, I think for the first time in God knows how long. So he's saving his goals for this match. So yeah, I think that's a spot on transfer there.
Yeah, and Acuna as well. He's just that sort of cheap 4.5 defender. I was looking, there was interestingly a lot of 4.5 defenders that hauled last week. The Benfica lads, Vertonghen, and all those sorts of players really did quite well. Otamendi, I think, as well. So there's definitely some really nice 4.5 million defenders in and about there. But I favoured Acuna, and we'll move on to your team, Guru, and I've bring up your team from last week, and you can just take us through your transfers. There it is. Here's Lucas Moura, 60 points, match day 1. So what changes have you made?
Yeah, look, Trippier's come out. I was disappointed last time. He actually started on the bench. He's been playing in a lot of the. He's been. Sorry, I've just seen Dan's comment come through there. Yeah, Trippier's come out for me. Didn't get the start last time, so yeah, had to come out. I've put in Milito from Real Madrid, so he comes in. Got a good score out last time. He was only 5 million as well, so like for like transfer. And then Lewandowski come in, so he comes in. I already had the funds. Messi's coming out for him, which I'm a bit surprised with now because obviously Haaland is injured. So I'm a little bit worried now because if Haaland doesn't play, I've taken out Messi, and see, it looks like Messi's going to play against City. He's got a good record against Man City in European football as well. So yeah, I'm sweating a bit over that one, but yeah, excited to be owning Lewandowski anyway. But just a bit gutted to lose Messi if Haaland does end up missing the fixture.
Yeah, we've both made the same transfer there, Guru. Messi to Lewandowski. I do think that it might pay off for us in the end, but we're going to need a third party to share his view on this. And we've got Ollie Walker-Peel, who's just joined on the UCL pod. Ollie, I'm going to ask you how you are first. So how are you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. The 5 seconds of this podcast that I've caught so far included the words Messi to Lewandowski, and you're both making the same transfer. Well, you can make 2, 3 because I can give you a little bit of insight into my transfers, but that's one I'm definitely going to make, mate. But I'm very well, thank you for asking, and I hope that you and the Guru are as well.
Yeah, so you reckon Messi to Lewandowski is going to be sitting on your radar as well then, mate?
I'm going to have to take a hit, but that's going to be one of the 3 transfers that I'll make. I've been absolutely ravaged with injury. I've got 4 players that have a cloud over them. Luke Shaw, we know, has been pretty much ruled out. Dani Olmo has been ruled out. We believe Messi's not going to play, and I don't think I'm going to hold him. So, that's the one. I think Erling Haaland is the only one with an injury cloud that I'm going to hold. In fact, no, Messi. No, I wasn't going to go Messi to Lewandowski. I was going to go Haaland to Lewandowski. That was going to be my plan. Keep Messi because it looks like he's going to play. So from all reports that I've read, Messi's going to play. So it's going to be Haaland to Lewandowski. I do apologise. I was making my transfers before. I've had about a 5-minute look since the end of the last game week to the start of this one. So I'm a bit rusty with UCL fantasy, fantasy football in general. UCL or Premier League hasn't gone too well for me in the past 2 weeks. So hoping to resurrect that with a decent game week 2 in the UCL, mate.
Yeah, we'll touch on the FPL tomorrow for the podcast there. So if you are going to join us, 6 p.m. Melbourne time, 9 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, English time as well. So make sure you're there for that one, and you can find out how we went for that. So Ollie, you said you've made your 2 transfers already then, mate. So what moves have you actually made?
Well, I haven't made them yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to make them. So I'm going to go from one Leipzig midfielder to another. Bring in Christopher Nkunku for Dani Olmo. Obviously scored 20 points, got himself a hat-trick game week 1, so looks like a natural progression. I'm going to go from Luke Shaw down. There was a few options I had, to bring in. I haven't really settled. I think I looked at Sven Botman as a potential option, so I think he might be the front runner in that defensive slot. And then, as I said, not quite the one that you're both going for in Messi to Lewandowski, because I'm pretty sure Messi's going to play, but I will be bringing Lewandowski in, but for Erling Haaland, because I think he'll miss out. So they're going to be my 3 transfers. First hit I'm going to take all season in any format, be it Premier League or UCL. So I'd never like taking hits, but I think with this week, this one's unavoidable. Don't want to use any of my chips just yet. So we're going to make 3 transfers, take the hit, and then move forward. Hopefully it's a decent game week for me.
Is this the start of the Ollie Walker-Peel decline in his fantasy seasons? That could be it. Him taking a hit. Very unlike you.
It's the start of the resurrection, mate. It's the start of the resurrection. I've had a couple of really bad weeks in FPL. We don't want to speak too much about FPL because we're going to get onto that tomorrow. A really bad start to UCL, but this is the start of the resurrection. As they say, I am the resurrection and I am alive in the the famous song way back, and this is the one. This is the one where I'm going to come back, roar back with a decent week. Hopefully not use any more Stone Roses reference, but hopefully it goes well for me this week. I'm confident. Got a decent team out there, got a lot of good players, but I just need to get them all out in the park. Really, to be fair, as I said, absolutely torn apart by injuries, but got a few players on the bench as well, a couple of 4.5 assets. I know Karavayev is one that I've got, so I might have to use him. But we'll have to see. A lot of resurrections going on, says Jack. Another one that's had two already this season. So I'm now not as. I tried not to be smug to start the season, but if I was any little bit smug, then it's come back to bite me now, hasn't it? I was a little bit smug. I'll concede that. But yeah, here we go. So I've a bit of humble pie. Jack's ripping into me as he deserves to. So hopefully all of us on the podcast can have decent weeks. It's not just me. I'm hoping that everyone goes well this week. But I suppose I'll have to see.
Yeah,
that's harsh, Dan. That's harsh, Dan.
Too good. And Reedy asks you, Guru, what's your thoughts on any Atalanta players this week? I have my eye on Marla. They've got a really nice fixture this week, I think. So, are you going to be, maybe looking at any Atalanta players? I know you said that you're not going to be getting any into your team, but, are they sort of on your radar?
Yeah, definitely Gosens, I think, the German. We saw what he could do in the Euros. Marla as well. The Dane that you just mentioned. So they're probably the two that stand out for me from fullback. Obviously, this week they got young boys who beat Man United, the mighty Man United previously. So, this week could be a good fixture to own those two fullbacks. But, yeah, they don't fit my side. But, yeah, I think if you're on a limitless, then might be worth checking them out.
Jack says, boys, check out Sucic. Bought him in this week. I'm not even going to lie to you, Jack. I've got no clue who he is. So, Guru, any idea?
If Jack's bringing him in, then I'd say stay well clear.
Very fair point to make. Ollie, any idea?
We know how this podcast works, don't we? If Jack recommends an asset, you'd be very, very cautious about bringing him in. Obviously, now that I've said that, he's going to be incredible. But a Salzburg midfielder, Austrian-born, but represents Croatia at international level. So haven't seen a lot of him, but who knows? Maybe Jack's onto one there, and if he is, he'll be sure to let us all know in the group chats and things that we've all got. But maybe he's a good one. He's a bit out there. Obviously, he'll be a differential. So maybe Jack's onto on it. Maybe his fancy team will be doing better than his actual team in the Champions League. But who knows?
I have actually heard that he's a bit of a set piece threat. That player. So, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he might be about 4.5, just off the top of my head. But I think he's a bit of an enabler, but at the same time, yeah, couldn't be so sure. But yeah, I've heard he might be a bit of an enabler. But yeah, like we said, if Jack's brought him in, then yeah, it could be a bit dubious as to if he's actually going to get points or not. So let's see.
Yeah, probably best to just steer clear. I think the conclusion from that is, and now that we've said that, I'm sure he's going to score 2 goals this week and make us all eat a slice of humble pie. But we'll get on to our captain picks, boys. Guru, we'll start with you. Obviously there's 2 days of games in this second match day. So for the first match day, who have you gone with?
Yeah, it's tough. Also, I really want Haaland as captain against Lisbon, but like Ollie mentioned, it just doesn't look like he's going to play, does it? So it's probably going to have to be Salah on this first match. Against Porto, I think he's a pretty good pick. And then, if he doesn't fire, then Jadwanovski is a certain for me on match day on the second set of games tomorrow.
Yeah, and that was definitely part of my thought process getting Lewandowski in this week, Guru, was that I really wanted him as that, that fullback captain option for the second day. I'm going to be much the same. So I think we're going to have quite a similar week this week, Guru. So it's going to be Haaland on the first day for me, and just hope that he's past as fit, because even if he's playing with one leg, we know what he can do. He's probably going to end up scoring a hat-trick anyway. He's an absolute machine. So Haaland on the first day for me, and Lewandowski on the second. But in terms of you, Ollie, have you sort of thought that through yet? Have you got your day 1 captain and your day 2 captain?
Yeah, Salah for me will be my first option day 1. He has a decent record against Porto, so let's assume he fires, so I don't need to use match day 2 options. But it's between then probably Lewandowski and Ronaldo. How much I love to captain Ronaldo. We've seen that across the start of the season so far. Villarreal at home, Manchester United, even though he wasn't there at that point, Ronaldo, but they've got to atone for that Europa League final loss. So he might be fired up for it and, might try and spur his team on to revenge. So I don't think he's a bad option either, but, plenty of options as always.
Yeah, and we'll just have to see if Ronaldo's put on penalties this time after that deplorable miss from Bruno Fernandes on the weekend. Just had to get that in, just because I know that Jack is listening along. But boys, that's going to wrap up the UCL show for today. We've discussed all that we need to discuss. Make sure you've taken all the tips away from what the guru said, and make sure you ignore all the comments that Jack has said in the live comments. Can't even remember what the player's name was. Sucic, I think it was. Make sure you steer clear of him if you want to be doing well in this league. And fingers crossed that everyone has a good week this week in UCL fantasy. Hope all your captains can return, all that sort of stuff. We'll be back again tomorrow, as I said, 6 p.m. Melbourne time, 9 a.m. English time, for the FPL pod previewing game week 7. Find out how we all went, as Ollie's alluded to. Maybe he doesn't think he had the best week. Find out about all our returns, all our hauls, and see what has gone on there. Just remember, if you haven't joined the league already as well, all the details will be in the description below. So make sure you join while you still can. Both leagues are still open, and make sure you're following FPL_addicts on all of the social pages. But until then, take care, stay safe. May all your UCL fantasy dreams come true. Bye for now.